Hello, hi, this is Kathy Frey from IMCO, from the International Integrative Maternity Healthcare Organisation. And I just want to welcome you all along today to this week's Maternity Natural Health webinar. And I can just see you guys all you guys and gals all signing in, so that's just awesome. And so this week, we are thrilled to be introducing you to, if you don't already know her, Sharleen Greer, who is a maternity wellness essential oil specialist. Say hello, Charlene.
Hi, everyone. Pleased to be here.
And the format today is that I will shortly hand over to Sharleen, and she has got a presentation that will sort of take 20 or 30 minutes, and and then there's some space afterwards for some discussion. And as you lovely people are signing in, do feel free to write into the chat area. So if you go down the bottom of your screen, you will see the chat area, and let us know whereabouts in the world you are and your role as a health professional. That's always great for us to know who's live with us. And also, if you may not be a maternity health professional, you may be a mum who's expecting. So we'd love to know whereabouts you are and your gestation. So do put that on in there. And then also down the bottom is that Q&A section as well. So if you've got any questions for Sharleen, don't hesitate to type them in there, and we'll absolutely make sure that those questions get answered before we conclude today, the whole thing will probably take around about 45 minutes, maybe slightly over. So that's what we all, but I want to introduce you to Sharleen now, for those of you who are watching this later and may not have seen the full details about her bio. So Charlene Greer has always loved collecting things. She's not sure why. It's just a quirky part about her. And she was a girl who played with her nana's button tin, which some of us remember. It's going back. I'm not sure if my grandchildren will remember a button tin. I'll have to get one. And when Charlene left school, she started collecting diplomas. And so those were including in nursing, naturopathy, counselling, childbirth educator, life coaching, which is a really interesting spread of education to come into the wellness aspect of utilising essential oils. Such an amazing, interesting, baseline there, such a good foundation. So in recent years, Charlene's passion has been for the knowledge on pure essential oils, and she's now a little bit addicted to them, as people often do become with those. And for the last 5 years of her, those pure essential oils have just been an integral part of her just everyday wellness and her business. So I'm going to hand you over to Sharleen, and she's going to be talking about how we can use those within that whole maternity journey. So welcome, Sharleen.
Thank you, Kathy, for having me. It's so nice to be here. And look, I just want to clear up one thing before I start. Now, I have a business which I've had for 7 years, and it's actually called Midlife Courage. So I'm able to guide women who are learning to navigate their middle years and are looking for new ways of being. However, in that, because some of them are grandma, or a lot of them are turning into grandmas now, they come to me and ask about essential oils for their babies or for their pregnant daughters or daughter-in-laws. And then the other aspect is I've got 4 daughters between the age of 21 and 31. They're all born at home, by the way, my claim to fame. So because I live in a smaller community, quite a lot of them also have come to me over the last 4 years and wanted to know what they could be doing as far as essential oils come. So this is kind of like a side hustle for me, working with mums to be and mums. And I have thoroughly enjoyed just going, getting everything together for this presentation, because it just has reminded me so much of my childbirth education days. So when you see my links at the end, they will have midlife courage. So I just wanted to explain that to you so you would not get confused. Right, now we're going to do the share screen. Fingers crossed this goes really well. Oh yes, it's looking great. Share, there we are.
Perfect. Yep,
Excellent.
that's working really, really good.
Oh, and the thing that I haven't done is it's at the end, so we'll just go right back to the beginning. There we are. Okay, essential oils for maternity wellness and maternity wellness. Okay, let's go here. So why essential oils for me? I was lucky enough to work as a childbirth educator down in Auckland at the Auckland Birthing Unit, and when it was in Gillies Ave. And when I moved up to Matakana, I got headhunted. If there's anyone here that's a bit older, you'll know Sally Wilson and Sue Wynyard. They headhunted me to do classes at the Warkworth Birthing Unit. So I was doing that, and I also did some shift work there. I got called in if they were busy. So sometimes that was at night. And what happened to me 10 years ago is my sleeping just went haywire. So it was probably a combination of doing shift work and hormonal stuff. And I tried everything. I spent a lot of money, time and energy trying to find something to help me get back into a good sleep pattern. Tried allopathic and naturopathic. Nothing worked until I got introduced to these beautiful little bottles. Now I can't see me, so hopefully you can. I'll just put them up beside me. Are you able to see that, Kathy? Hello? Kathy's not talking to me.
Sorry, I had my mic turned off.
No,
Yes,
that's okay. I'm just making sure that you can see this little bottle beside me.
yeah, we can.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool.
We can't read the label, but we can.
No, that's okay. I'll be talking about them. So, so I got introduced to these little bottles of essential oils, and they worked. I mean, they didn't work straight away. I had to tweak them a little bit, but I now sleep 85% of the night, which I think for a middle-aged woman is pretty normal these days. So that's why I started getting into these essential oils, because once you have an experience, it's a bit like when you found the remedy for colic, you want to tell everyone about it. So, and because I worked with middle-aged women, they wanted to know what I was doing for sleep. I was actually looking for a product to go with my business because it's a service-based business. So it's quite good to have a product, and so to make it more holistic. So I've been into the essential oils for about 5 years. Funnily enough, when I did my naturopathy in the 80s, it was all about homeopathy, herbs, and body work. I think we did an hour lecture on essential oils, and that was the 5 main ones, things like lavender and tea tree, those sorts of oils that you'll have heard about. So why have I decided to partner with Doterra Essential Oils? Well, as I said, once you have an experience, you really are hooked. That was one reason. 2, they give me financial freedom. They give me flexibility. I can continue to make an impact in the world, which is really important to me. And it's also given me this lovely community of people, which once again, it can be a bit lonely when you're working for yourself. Now, also, I like a couple of the initiatives that Doterra have. So they have a co-impacting initiative or a co-impact sourcing initiative. So what this means is that we try and get our oils from where they've been growing them for generations. So we know that the earth that all the plants are prepared in is really suitable for the plant and the oil. So we're going to get that really good quality. And a lot of these, like we get our oils from over 45 countries worldwide, and a lot of them are third world countries. So the co-impacting source means we can give back, we can help educate about sanitary pads, wells, schools, that sort of thing. So I really like that aspect about it. And also we have a Helping Hands initiative, which is we can give dollar to dollar for organisations. So here in New Zealand in February, a really good friend of mine, she did I'm Enough, which is a organisation to try and get young children educated on, or teenagers on, the pros and cons of being online all the time, because the studies coming out is how it increased anxiety and suicides in the rise, that sort of thing. So we were able to, with matching dollar in a month, get $7,000 for that organisation. So I love the helping hands part of it. And the last thing is, I love how pure and potent that the oils are, and the transparency that the company have. So with every bottle, you won't be able to see it, but on the bottom is a number, and you can go to a site, source to you. All these things I mentioned will be at the end of the slide, the sites and whatnot, and you can put in that number, and it will tell you everything about this bottle, and where it's come from, how it's been grown, how it's been farmed, how it's been distilled. And then there's a battery of tests. I think there's about 74 tests that happen. 2 of them are through Doterra, and 1 is an independent body. And you will get all the results of that independent body about this bottle that could arrive in your home. So I really like that. I know that they are 100% pure essential oils. So I think that's gives you a good indication of why I've gone to Doterra as the brand that I love. They are 100% pure. They are certified pure, testing grade. So a lot of people say, why don't we have organic on the bottle? The reason being is that a lot of the third world countries, it's a real process, it's a real expense to get organic, and they all have, they don't have the same kind of set of forms and everything. So it's all individual to the country. So that is why we have stuck to CPTG. Obviously, they're plant-based. They come from all parts of the plant. It could be anything from the flower to the fruit, to the root, to the leaves, to the bark. They, depending on where the most potent part of the oil is. Natural alternative to synthetic products. We have single oils, meaning like a lavender, but then we have blends like lavender piece, which is 4 or 5 oils put together. It's traditional medicine in that it goes back generations, as I'm sure you're all aware of. We talk about the 3 wise men who gave frankincense and myrrh. They're saying the gold is turmeric now. The oils can help us physically, emotionally, and mentally and spiritually too. You can have them as they are, but we prefer diluted, and I'm going to go into this a bit more in a minute. There are some things we need to be careful of, and we always say less is best, especially when you're learning about the oils. And there are some hot oils and some citrus oils, which I can go over later. And there's a couple that are contraindicated to pregnancy and breastfeeding as well. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the sense smell. It is absolutely fascinating. Smell is the strongest sense in our body. And the thing about smell is it's the only sense that goes straight to our limbic system. So therefore, it only takes 2 seconds for the molecules to reach the brain. All the other senses obviously go to the brain, but they go to the thalamus, so it's like a switchboard, and then they get directed to the part of the brains that they're needed. So it's amazing that we can smell an oil, and with the olfactory nerves, it goes up to the olfactory bulb and the limbic system, and it starts working. So within 2 seconds, the molecules reach the brain. 2 minutes, they are found in the bloodstream, and 20 minutes, they reach every cell in the body. So it's pretty amazing. Now, I just wanted to talk to you, in the limbic system, that's where we hold our memories and our experiences. So when I run a kind of a session for a group of people, and we're looking at lavender, there's always someone who has a memory straight away. It reminds them of grandma's lavender garden. So it means that we can use anchoring with essential oils really well throughout pregnancy so that the woman has an experience and a memory of it in birth. And this can be particularly good for relaxation. So for instance, if the woman likes, say, magnolia. So magnolia is one of my favorite oils, and the reason being it's got a lot of linalool in it. It's actually got 10 times more linalool than lavender, so it's a really good flower oil for relaxation. So if a woman likes this one and she's using it for relaxation during her pregnancy, it will be anchored into her, meaning when she's in labor that, you know, that she can use this, or a support person can help her use this to remember to relax. So that goes for all sorts of things, but I really like that technique of anchoring, and so wanted to introduce it to you when we were talking about the facts around smell. So how do we use our essential oils? Okay, our diffusing is the first way, and we have numerous diffusers. This is a common one for Doterra. We have some other chewy ones. I'll see if this one will turn on, if all my ducks are in a row. And you do have to be a bit careful with diffusers. It is worth investing in a good one so that they've got the mechanism to actually break down. Let me see. I don't know if you're going to see this, but it's decided not to work. But anyway, there's a nice sweet. There's another one which people like. It's got more of a wooden base and it changes colours as well. So these diffusers have buttons on them that can go for various amounts of time, 2 hours. They can even 5 hours, 10 hours. The 5 and 10 hours is quite great because you can put it on in a toddler's room or a baby's room, and it won't go on continuously. It will stop and start. Okay, so as I was saying, it's good to invest in a good diffuser so that it's got a mechanism that breaks down the molecules so that the oil and the water are mixing, because remember, oil and water don't mix that well. So that's one way. The other way is just inhaling. So, you know, if you're out and about and you feel like you're perhaps getting a cold, you could use On Guard, which is for immunity, and just smell it that way is enough. Yeah. Another way is to put a drop on your hand, rub your hand together, and smell. Oh, gorgeous. So this is me inhaling it aromatically, and I'm using the oil neat. So I hope you noticed. I can only see the slide, so I hope you noticed I only put 1 drop of the On Guard on my hand. You really only need to, you know, less is best is what I want you to keep thinking about. Now that I've got it on my hands still, I can use it topically. So what I always do is I rub it on the back of my neck where the brainstem is, and that's going to, you know, have it get up to that limbic system by the vagus nerve pretty quickly. Now what we encourage people to do is to dilute the oil. That is our preference. So a lot of the oils come in these 10 ml bottles. They have a little roller ball on them, and they've already been diluted with fractionated coconut oil. We use coconut oil, but there's lots of other jojoba and all sorts of almond oil you could use. Our coconut oil is called fractionated coconut oil, and basically it just means that the fat's been taken out of it, so it's always going to be runny, it's not going to stain your clothes, that sort of thing. Okay, so there's numerous ways you can use it in a roller ball. You can make up your own roller balls. We give out glass balls that are empty, and you can make up your own blends, which can be quite exciting. And you can just put it on your hand, just a little squeeze of it, and add your oil, and then it's diluted that way. I'm a big fan of using a ramekin because I find the roller bottles a bit limiting to me. I'm kind of a slap it on sort of girl, so I like putting my essential oil and my first of all putting a good squeeze or two of the essential oil. Of the coconut oil in the ramekin, and then I put my oils, and then I can really smother them on with my hands over the area. Obviously, by doing it this way topically, you're going to make your oils last, especially those ones that are a bit of an investment, those flower oils. You're going to cover the area that, that needs it. So if it's a knee, you can get in and cover the whole knee. And therefore the oils are going to work in that specific area that you need them. Now, because our oils are certified pure grade, some of them are food grade. You won't be able to see, but they do have it on the bottle. So if it doesn't have on the bottle that you can put in a drop or two for flavouring, then you must not use it that way. I don't go too much into the using oils as a food additive because it's not everyone's preference. If it's not, then we really encourage sticking to aromatic and topically. I'm a big fan of using the citrus ones in water, say a drop of wild orange or lime or green mandarin, grapefruit, and that's how I start my day. Also, lemon in apple cider vinegar is a good way to start the day too, only if you feel comfortable with that. So let's do a bit of a rollerboard guide. Actually, I'll talk about a diffuser too, how much you use in a diffuser. So the bottles normally come in 10 mils, okay? If you're using them for tester, you can get them in 5 mils or 2 mils or 1 mils, but 10 mils is what, if you get one through the Doterra that's already made, it will be 10 mils, and 10 mils is what I tend to give out. So I hope you can see that there's a little roller ball on the end that you can just roll on where you need it. So I personally don't recommend that you use essential oils on a bubby that's under 3 months. I mean, if you're an aromatherapist and you feel confident, you may want to put 1 drop of lavender in a big bath or massage some on their little feet. But in the general rule is not to use them until they are 3 months. So because the oils are very volatile, a really easy formula that I find works is we just go by the age. So 3 months to 1 year, you're going to use 1 drop. This is in a 10 ml bottle. If they're 2, you use 2 drops. If they're 8, you use 8 drops, all the way up to an adult, around about 18 years of age. And then an adult can use 20 to 30 drops, depending on what they need it for, and depending on the strength, how strong the oils are, that kind of thing. So that's just a little general kind of rule that works quite well. And as I said, beware of hot oils. Do not use them on babies and children. So hot oils, they kind of, once you start hearing about them, you go, yeah, I understand why that's a hot oil. So they're things like cinnamon, cassia, cloves, thyme, even peppermint, those ones that you kind of start getting a general feel of them. Anything else about rollerball guide? No, we're whipping through this. Where to apply essential oils? Well, as I said, I always like at the back of the neck, especially when I've got it on my hands from smelling it. I then finish off with putting it back at the back of the neck, right up the top of the back of the neck where the brainstem runs up to the brain. Behind the ears is another good place, even the top of the ears, in that little triangle part where there's a pulse point. The spine, now I'm sure you're aware, but anyway, just the spine, we don't go up the bone, we go on either side. And you can imagine if you've got a roller ball or even you've got your little ramekin with some oil, and you can do your effilage up the side of the spine. On the temples, once again, on a little child, I probably want to do the temples because they rub their eyes, but if they're getting a headache, you can go up quite high on the head. You might even put a drop on their crown or in between their eye, the third eye. Once again, on children and babies, probably not in between their eye. Soles of their feet, and any relevant pulse points. So if you're using the oils for emotions, which that's one of my biggest passions, you can put them on inside the wrist or the elbow, and I even just rub them up the arm. The most popular place that little ones seem to enjoy it is on their feet. Remember, you've got all the pressure points on their feet, or up that spine. They just love it, and it becomes a regular that maybe going off to sleep, you give them a little bit of a massage with an oil. Don't be afraid to let the children, when they're old enough, to pick their oils. They just intuitively seem to know what oil they need, and it might be completely different to the one that you thought. And what's really, it's my Bible, and once again, I've got this listed at the end, the Emotions and Essential Oils book. So say, for instance, the child was, I don't know, they really wanted, let me see, lavender. We all know lavender. You can look up the book, and the emotional side of lavender is for communication and calm. So we all know that lavender calms us down, but it's actually also the oil for communication. Like, I had a couple of drops this morning before I came online. And it gives you a whole page of about that oil and why they need it. So that's quite exciting, if you can trust your children to choose their own. And a good place on the feet. I mean, some of you may know this, but I'm assuming that you know nothing, and so I'm just putting it all out there. That good point on the big upper toe, especially if it's that spongy part, especially if it's for calming them down and going off to sleep. That connects to the nervous system, so that's a good place to put oils. But you can just do a whole general foot massage. They love it. Even a little babies after 3 months, they'll giggle when you're doing it. Now, I just wanted to say about the diffuser, like, how much oil do we put in the diffuser? A few general things. Here's another cute wee diffuser I like. I had this one by my room. It also changes colors. They were bringing out at Christmas time, they always bring out a new diffuser specifically for kids. Like, there's been a whale one and a elephant one, and last year there was a koala one, because some of those funds were going into the fire bushes in Australia. So how much oil to put in a diffuser? There's a few things to be considerate of. The size of the room. So if it's a huge room, you're going to need more. If it's a little baby's nursery, you're going to need less. And how much do you put in? Less is best. So if I was using lavender, I would just put in a couple of drops in a average size room. If you wanted to use 3 oils, you can mix them. You can put in lavender and say wild orange, and maybe vetiver, which is a good one. It's a natural tranquilizer to help with sleep. Roman chamomile, another good one for little ones. You would put in 1 drop of each. So therefore you've got 4 drops. So I never exceed about 6 drops in a diffuser. But as I say, if you were doing in a huge open space like a lounge and a kitchen and a dining room, then you would need more. So I will keep on saying it. Less is best. There's been a lot of controversy around about using diffusers with pets. In my experience, pets are very intuitive as well, like little puppies, like pregnant women, all very intuitive. So what I tend to do is I'm using a new oil in my diffuser. I have a door open or a window open, so that if the pet doesn't like it, they're not silly, they will leave. There really is only a couple that you have to be very concerned about: tea tree and birch. But as I say, I use tea tree all the time in my diffuser. I've got 2 dogs. It's never been a problem. But you need to be aware of these things, okay? And trust me, a dog's not going to go up to the diffuser and start sniffing it if he doesn't like it. And in fact, with horses, it's quite amazing. You can hold a few oils and put them up to the horse's nose, and they will go for the one that they want. They will knock away the ones they don't. I've seen that. It's quite amazing. So animals know what they're doing. Sometimes us humans get a bit uptight about these things, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there is a caution there. Okay, now what I thought I would do is just go over some of the most popular kits that we have, so you're aware of them, and then what you can use in pregnancy, even some of them in labour, and with little ones and onto families. So this is a new one that they put out last year with all the COVID stuff. We noticed there was a lot more stress. Actually, I'm supposed to talk very compliantly. I'm not supposed to say words like stress. So there were a lot of anxious feelings around. I will try and keep to being compliant. There's lots of anxious feelings around. So they did emotional wellness kit. It comes with a diffuser, which you can see there, and those 5 oils. Lavender Peace. Lavender Peace is lavender on steroids, I call it. So, you know, it's often one I start with people with sleep issues. Yeah, lavender on steroids. Adaptive is a beautiful blend that they put out last year as well, which is once again for anxious feelings. Had so many women have and little kids have wonderful results with Adaptive. They've also added to Adaptive GABA. So GABA is a neurotransmitter that can help with nervous excitability. Citrus Bliss, all those beautiful Citrus Bliss citrus oils that everyone loves. Women tend to love them all in a bottle together, so it's very invigorating. So, you know, there's oils like lime and wild orange and lemon, and don't know if there is lemon in Citrus Bliss. Now, just a side note that if you are using a lot of citrus oils, they're photosensitive, so therefore you wouldn't go out into the sun and sunbathe after you've smeared yourself all over with an essential oil that is a citrus. Balance is one of my favorites, and little babies just tend to tell babies and toddlers tend to love Balance, especially boys. It is a wood oil, so a blend, so it's made with lots of bark and roots from trees. So it's a very grounding one, you know, that kind of sense that you get when you're walking on cold grass or the cold sand beach. You feel very grounded. A side note, I used to say to my mums when I was doing childbirth education that also get into brown rice and miso. That's another very grounding foods for, you know, if you're feeling really kind of up in the air and a bit woo-woo. But Balance is a very good blend. And then Elevation is what we call the joyful blend. So this is a kit that you get the diffuser and the 5 bottles of oils that you can diffuse with or add coconut oil. Now there was something else I was going to say about this one, which is just escaping me. Oh yes, now the benefit of you know, if you were wanting to look at getting a kit, is that you get a wholesale account. So that means you get all your oils going forward. If you wanted to get any more, no pressure, but if you did, 20% off. Okay, and the kits, they do quite a good reduction. Then we've got a new one again that that photo's a bit blurry, isn't it? Is Bedtime Bliss. So that is one that has got 5 oils in it, great for sleep. Now, what's interesting, when I say to people that I got into the oils because I got a sleep regime that helped me sleep, they'll go, what was it? What was it? I am a big believer in doing a consultation with people to find out the reason they are not sleeping. Because we have 170 oils, it's like, depending on why that person's not sleeping, there'll be a different oil. So for me, I got started on lavender, didn't work for me. It hyped me up. It works for about 74% of people, didn't work for me. My issue was getting back into a good circadian rhythm. I'd had 4 children. Well, I nursed, so I was a bit of a partier. And then I had 4 children over, you know, I had my last one when I was 40. And then I was doing shift work at the Warkworth birthing unit. So my circadian rhythm was all over the show. So cedarwood was the one that helped me there, and vetiver. Cedarwood and vetiver together, natural, vetiver being a natural tranquilizer. It had that balance in it, which is a grounding one, this kit. And then they had Peace, and Peace is a roller one. Once again, it comes in the roller. So Peace is a very good one for anxious feelings as well and calming you down. So you can kind of use Peace during the day to keep calm, which is also going to help with sleep. So as I said, mine was circadian. It could be someone's pregnant and they're uncomfortable. It could be hormonal. It could be stress. It could be that they're getting some uncomfortable feelings somewhere in their body physically to what oils they need. So I'm a big one on doing consultations to meet the individual's needs. And I'm very big on educating, and I love that I'm a nurse and a naturopath, and that I was a childbirth educator and supervisor, because I feel, as Kathy said, it's a good grounding. How are we going for time? Oh, 9:35. Gosh. Okay, we'll quickly go through these. This is a beautiful collection for kids. They love it. It comes in those, as you can see, the beautiful colour bottles. There's 2 for mental, 2 for emotional, 2 for physical. And then they added the Tamer, which is the tummy one. So therefore, Thinker and Steady can help kids. They take them to school to, you know, if they've got to concentrate and study. Steady is just like the Grounded, but a kid's version. Emotionally, there's Brave and Calmer. So Brave, if they're getting bullied, they need to feel strong, and Calmer, just to calm them down on the mat maybe. And then Physical, Rescuer and Stronger. So Rescuer is if they fall over and maybe cut their knees or whatever, they can use Rescuer. It's got lavender in it. And then Stronger is an immunity one. So beautiful kit for kids. They love it. Home or Family Essential Kit. I'm just going to very quickly talk a little bit about this. This is the one that a lot of families tend to start with. It's got the top 10 oils in it. Lemon for cleansing, peppermint for cooling, lavender for calming, oregano. Don't use that so much, and it is a hot oil, but boy, is it really good if there's if the immunity needs a really good blast. Melaleuca's another one, isn't it? It's got lots of antiviral properties. Frankincense, king of all oils. If in doubt, get Mr. Frank out. And then they do 4 blends: On Guard, Ice Blue, Digestion, and Easy Air. On Guard's for immunity. Ice Blue is for aches and pains, which can be good in pregnancy and labour. And that also one of our very popular products. It comes in a rub as well, so that you can rub it on. I think I've got this in every gym in Warkworth, I think. And Easy Air is for respiratory conditions. So the good thing about this kit is there's over 101 ways you can use it. So therefore, if we just look quickly at pregnancy, sorry about my wording, but I was keeping compliant. So if there's anything going on with your digestion, then you can use the digestion. When I say promote heart wellness, you know how pregnant women, they get their heart gets a bit hot, burning. Am I allowed to say that? Peppermint. Any issues going on with breast swelling? I've just got breast care as lavender, bowel wellness, lemon, digestion or peppermint, anxious feelings, frankincense, anything going on with the head, then lavender and or peppermint. Promote the immune system, On Guard, supportive muscles, Ice Blue, supportive circulation, which we can have a lot going on in our legs, Ice Blue and lavender, and sleep wellness, I've got lavender and frankincense. And for those marks you can get on your tummy, you could certainly use frankincense, lavender as well. And I put together some basic midwife kits. I'm not going to go into these too much, but they have got, the basic ones got the home essential kit with some other ones added to it. Now, clary sage is one that you do not use in pregnancy, but it does help with contractions. So I know some midwives who use it if the woman needs to, get those stronger, more effective contractions happening. Cobaiba is one that works on the nervous system. It works on the cannabinoid system. Essential midwife kit, got a few more there. And I really wanted to put, there's a premium one. All the oils, they are addictive. They come with a warning. Now, pampering the midwife, I just really, you midwives, you caregivers, you doulas, you work so hard. I know this. And so I'm a lover of the rollables, and they have some beautiful ones like Motivate. So you can rub that on your hand and smell it when you're low in energy. It's got the citrus and the wood oils in it. It's got that adaptive. And the flower ones, jasmine, urali, magnolia, rose, beautiful oils. And as I say, they're the more of an investment, the flower oils, which is why they're in a roller bottle. We add coconut oil to them, but beautiful for calming, relaxing, gorgeous oils. Okay, I think we're about to finish off. The resources, Modern Essential book is one I have. Love it. as I showed you the emotional one. And then if I need to know anything about pregnancy, birth or babies, I tend to go to Stephanie Fritz, who is a midwife in America who has worked with essential oils for years and years and years. And she's got great resources that you can use. I know we have, I've got a good friend down in Christchurch who is a midwife, and I can go to her as well. There's the website. Doterra Source to You is the one where you can put in the number and find out all about the bottle. And then lastly, where to now? There's my details. As I say, Midlife Courage, which is why I wanted to explain about my other business. And if anyone would like to book a free Zoom call with me to talk some more about what I've hopefully educated you on today, do that. I can present online or in person to your team. If you purchase through me, you get lots of giveaways, and I am there to hold your hand and educate you. I'm all about educating, empowering, and hopefully entertaining you at the same time. I'm going to stop there. Wow.
Oh, well done. Well done. Thank you so much, Charlene. It's been a good overview, especially for people who perhaps feel really quite unfamiliar with pure essential oils. And even the difference between saying essential oils and pure essential oils, is a critical thing. With oils, probably more, they very much typify that saying that you pay for what you get. So just know that there's a real difference of quality. There's a vast array of quality out there, which is why we are not here in this role to promote particular brands, to promote particular products. It's all about information. But everybody that I know that is a huge advocate of pure essential oils does tend to go for that Doterra brand, because we just know that they are that very, very, very high quality. Just some sort of look, if anybody's got any questions that have not been answered through this, I think that we've had quite a few questions that have been answered through the presentation, but if there's anything that hasn't been answered, do put that in now, and we'll make sure that we get that done in the next few minutes. Just to sort of go over a couple of things, Charlene, what do you think that, obviously essential oils have been around since, before Christianity, way before Christianity. So, a long time. But why do you think that they are making a comeback these days?
Well, I think that people are looking more for natural ways. We're all going back to good old Mother Earth. She's struggling, and how can we support our overall health? And I'm certainly not saying there's not a need for allopathic medicine as well. Gosh, I've just been into hospital and had a completely new knee, and I needed to do that, and I did have the drugs, and I also had essential oils to help me as well. So I just think people are much more aware of it. I know that's how I started getting into working with mums, because they just, I grew up with them, with my kids, and they just reached out and said, what can we do? So that's great. I just want to comment. I see someone, sorry, Kathy, I see someone put on the chat that they like to promote locally, and that they do have beautiful local oils grown in New Zealand. You're exactly right. Doterra do just two, Manuka and Douglas Fir down in Queenstown. And I'm very much all about promoting locally. And I love that we can do things like the Helping Hand initiative, where we can give back. We've given back to the Women's Centre for Abuse, that sort of thing as well. And as I say, there is no governing body about essential oils, about how much is in it. So it can say pure essential oil, and as long as that they've got a percentage in it, then they can use that title. But it doesn't necessarily mean to say that everything else in it hasn't got fillers or synthetics. That's personally why I use Doterra. But yes, beautiful other, as you said, Kathy, that's just my preference, and always good to support local, especially these days.
Yeah, we're not trying to promote any particular, it's just
Sorry about my
my
dogs.
comment that I certainly see a consistency that there's a preference, I guess, because you can they are accessing those oils from all around the world, including New Zealand. But this is not just about New Zealand, so that's wonderful. And I mean, that's what we're doing here in the maternity, natural health symposiums, is that I think that is globally, we are realizing well and truly that modern medicine does not have all the answers, and there's often when we combine some of these ancient remedies with modern medical knowledge, we get even better results. So we know that. And now, are there any particular oils that should not be used during pregnancy? Oh, Charlene, we've lost you.
Yeah, I muted myself because the dogs were barking in the background.
Oh.
Definitely clary sage, and we've got a combination clary calm. Definitely those two. As I say, you just do need to be aware of the citrus oils being photosynthesis, so you don't want to be photosensitive, so you don't want to be pouring a whole lot of well, you wouldn't pour anyway, sorry, but like layer yourself with coconut oil and say wild
what
orange.
we're talking about there is that women, particularly in labour, can have photosensitivity, which means that bright lights are brighter, and because their pupils are dilated, and so that's why women prefer to have one of the reasons that when you're in labour you prefer to have a dimly lit room, because you're seeing light in a brighter way, which when you think back to the fact that we've been giving birth since way before having electricity, it makes sense that we were given photosensitivity through our labor, so that with whatever light there was going on from the moon, we'd be able to see a little bit better. But of course today, in a brightly lit with bulb birthing suite, then that's not so good. So that's interesting that these citrus sort of impacts that photosensitivity. So it's obviously good for the eyes. And yes, clary sage is a big no until you are at beyond 37 weeks and establishing into labour. Yeah.
Peppermint's another one that's a bit they say that peppermint can inhibit your milk flow. Once again, I've had women that hasn't been a problem with, and it has. So, it's just something to be aware of. And of course, there's oils, which I didn't mention today, but I think that's one of the midwife kits is things like fennel to actually promote milk flow as well. That sort of thing. The main hot ones are cassia, cinnamon, oregano, thyme. I think there's one other one. Oh, and clove. Yeah, they're you always need to do I always say to everyone to do a skin test anyway with some coconut oil and them on the wrist first. And what may happen if you're sensitive to it, like anything else, you get a red, a little bit of redness. I've had toddlers that have sniffed a cinnamon bottle and gone, ow, just from there, and had to put a lot of coconut oil on it. So those 5 especially: bergamot, black pepper, cedarwood, eucalyptus, geranium, ginger, lemongrass, lime, peppermint, wintergreen can also, not as much, they're not classed as a hot oil, but they are ones that, to be aware of, and definitely do a patch test first.
I certainly found it's so funny that we're both involved with Warkworth Birth Centre. I've caught a lot of babies there. Had lots and lots of my women give birth at that birth centre. In my biased opinion, I think it's one of the nicest birth centres on the planet, which just happens to be up the road from where you live, in a lovely area of the world. But certainly one of my favourites with peppermint would be, I'd often use peppermint once the woman is fully dilated and she's in that active birthing phase, and it would often, you sort of might be in a bit of a lavender phase through that first stage of labor, where you're wanting to let it go and you're wanting to breathe through things. But once you're fully dilated and she needs to get really actively involved, and the peppermint would kind of change the feel of the room, and she'd get all going again. So quite good for that second stage of birth. We've got a question come in, which not about pregnancy or babies or birth, but it's about us human beings. So she's got a teenager that's prone to boils, and she uses tea tree and lavender. And the question is that okay? Or are there some other options that could be better? Because she just obviously hates for her to be, having antibiotics frequently. What's your thoughts there?
I think great choice, starting with the two that you have started with. That's lavender and tea tree oil, definitely. Sorry, I'm just not good to use Junior. There was one other one, Salubal, which I've got. And Salubal has got frankincense, it's got rose, it's got, is a combination, and it's really good for skin things. So that's called Salubal. America call it Immortal. They've got a few that they call separate. But, once again, with skin, if I've got my naturopath hat on, I'm saying what's going on with gut health. Like microbiome, I'm saying that's the word for 2021. Last year it was pivot. This year we're hearing about our gut and how important it is for it's just as important as the brain and the heart. They're recognizing. I'm reading a book called The Gut that was put out at Christmas, just amazing. So keep using your tea tree, keep using your lavender, add the Salubal. It's already diluted in coconut oil, but also look at, your child's, and I know it's hard for teenagers, they don't want to be told that they have to give up gluten or wheat or sugar for a little while. But, their pain point's got to be big enough, and they might.
Another thing that I would just suggest, which is homeopathy, but certainly with any kind of skin wound healing, hypercal is always
Yes.
just such a go-to, right? As a cream or a gel to put on there. So hypercal is that combination of hypericum, which is a natural antiseptic, and then calendula, which is a skin healing promoter.
Yeah, calendula's great.
I'm just thinking of those boils. That's very, very helpful. One last question that we've got, and now just a comment there that I mentioned about that I found a favorite of using peppermint, bringing into that second stage of childbirth, and somebody's made the comment that she's tended to use peppermint during labor for women's nausea or vomiting, and sort of go, is it not good to be using peppermint in early labor because it's activating or stimulating? I mean, I would say just, there's no real hard and fast rule, is there? It's, you just use what works for that woman at that time. What's your thoughts
peppermint,
about nausea and vomiting in that first stage?
Yeah, or they might, if it's before nauseas and vomiting, there could be ginger, or there could be a fennel, there could be the digestive one, which is got a combination of them all. Some people find peppermint too strong, and so I often soften it with just one drop of wild orange, or they can have spearmint, and they find spearmint not as strong as peppermint. Because peppermint is such a strong smell, one drop on your hand. I start a lot of my workshops and pass around peppermint. Some women just go, whoa, their eyes start running. They have a real reaction to it. I'd be looking up the essential oil book and to see why it is, if they're having a reaction. At some level they need it, but you can swap to the spearmint because it is a very strong oil, big pick me up. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to wind it up there. We're well over time, but look, thank you so much to Charlene for taking the time to be here today, and thank you to all of you who have registered and been able to be here live for us as well. We know lots of people register and watch later because you're from all different places in the world, but it's always neat to have that live audience. And so look, thank you everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you, Charlene. Is there anything
My pleasure
you'd like to conclude with?
No, just that thing that, you know, essential oils are addictive, so be careful, watch out. And, you know, I go through different phases, and at the moment mine's magnolia, which does have a lot more lanolol in it than lavender. So it was, when I first smelt it, it was sweet, sickly, didn't like it. But then if I smelt my hand 5 minutes later, it was just beautiful. So I'm a big one on the emotional oils, the biggest investment ones, the rose, the jasmine, the magnolia, the nerelli. Those sorts are my favorites.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. And
My pleasure. Lovely having some
I
time
wish
with you.
everybody a lovely week. So, and we've got, thank you, it's amazing. Oh, we've got a virgin participant here. Just we get those every week, but just somebody saying that it's their first time attending the platform, and yeah, so it's our, you know, welcome along, and we're actually in the middle of putting a lot of these past webinars up onto our website. It's a big job. We rely on volunteers to do this work, and so it's, you know, my honor to bring everybody to you all, because it's great. We've got such good resources around the world, haven't we, of just fantastic people. So thank you everybody for your time, and see you next time.
Okay. Bye, thanks, Kathy.
Bye.
You're doing wonderful work.
Oh, thank you so much.